So I won't repeat what I said. Yeah. So it's very good to be back at Tushita, where we have restored Gompa, thanks to the efforts of many people, fundraisers, workers, supervisors, and so forth. So again, providing a real refuge for people in Delhi. And I hope those of you who are online may occasionally get the chance to come to Tushita and attend the programs. So at the moment, I believe a long life puja is also in progress for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I think in Switzerland. Oh, in New York, sorry, hasn't yet left for to come back eastwards. So we were wondering earlier whether to broadcast that online puja, which would have been mainly in Tibetan, or to carry on with our program, because we felt, His Holiness was so revered by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and is the cause for us being here. But on the other hand, Lama Zopa Rinpoche is the direct cause for us being here, and through his kindness, through Rinpoche's kindness, we are here and have received teachings from Rinpoche many times, most of us. So by offering these prayers for Rinpoche's return, it is no less and probably more practical and beneficial for us than attending an online puja where we also may not understand a lot of what's happening. Anyway, we are asked in this tradition to see the oneness of all the gurus, so not to separate. So Rinpoche as kind of oneness with the Buddha, oneness with His Holiness, and so forth. So there is no mistake here, and in fact, something very beneficial. So I thought we'd just start with a few anecdotes, since the prayers are very wonderful and speak for themselves, although, of course, the Manjushri prayer needs commentary from a highly realized person, because it's very, very dense and has many meanings, many layers of meaning, probably. I've received the transmission of it from several lamas, but have never received commentary. So I hope all of us can receive commentary on this very extraordinary text at some point. And if some of you have already, then that's wonderful. But I thought I'd start with just a few personal reminiscences of the first time I ever saw Rinpoche, which was back in 1979, the Manjushri Institute in England, where I was studying and working at that time. And so it was, he was very thin with big eyes and rather scary, because he didn't look like someone who, he's not someone you'd meet on the London Underground or something like that. He looked like somebody from outer space in some ways, especially when put us next to Lama Yeshe, who was also there at that time. Lama Yeshe was teaching some high texts, so Tara Tantra. Rinpoche was to teach 8 verses of transforming the mind, and that's the teaching that I had registered for, which Rinpoche gave in the chapel of this very old Gothic-style building, Conishead Priory, on the lake, at the side of Morecambe Bay, in the north of England, next to the Lake District, very, very beautiful part of England. So Rinpoche was there, very thin, sitting on the throne, and he would teach with his head tilted slightly to the right-hand side, which later he didn't do. But in those days, after all, he was only 34 years old then, And he was teaching like that. And it was very powerful, although I didn't understand a lot of it. At a certain point, he remembered that we were ordinary people in the audience, and he gave us a pee-pee break with a smile on his face. But otherwise, it was just probably quite long sessions. I don't remember too well. First teaching he gave was on what he called the 5 degenerations. This is a teaching on the 5 degenerations, which is always very, very good to keep in mind, I feel, because this is an era of the 5 degenerations, so that we should not, in a sense, we can be upset and so forth, but we should not be surprised at anything that is happening these days, because, well, it sounds strange, doesn't it? Because, yeah, the Buddha knew about this. Buddhist teachers knew that this is that time of 5 degenerations. Everything is getting worse. The environment, but especially the mind streams of living beings are degenerating, and more and more delusions, more and more self-centeredness and aggression and so on and so forth, more and more disease, war, famine. This is just to be expected, unfortunately, at the present time. It is that kind of time. And then when Rinpoche launched into the 8 verses of training the mind, as some of you know, the last verse concerns emptiness. Of course, Rinpoche started with the last verse. He started with teaching on emptiness. And luckily, we had a very, very fine scholar and student of Lama Yeshe, Jonathan Landor, who edited many books later, and a very wonderful student of the Lamas. He helped us by putting up on the walls of the priory in certain places a transcript and some commentary on what a lot of it meant, because for many of us, we didn't know what was going on, really. Anyway, later I had the great good fortune to receive teachings from Rinpoche at Kopan Monastery. In fact, the next year, I think, 1980, at Kopan Monastery, which is very different from what it is now. Very small gompa. The teachings were in a tent because there were so many people for the November course. And what I remember, because I arrived a bit late, I couldn't avoid attending my cousin's wedding in Delhi. So I was a bit late for the start of the Kapan course. I slept in the tent. We received teachings in the tent, some of the men, because there's not enough accommodation elsewhere. So we had our sleeping bags. And pee-pee breaks would be in the bushes very often on the hillside, because, the toilets were sometimes a bit far to get to. Anyway, Rinpoche taught that course, and of course, he would emphasize hell realms, karma, suffering. These were Rinpoche's favorite subjects to teach. So you could say that had a very powerful effect on the mind. Nothing escaped Rinpoche's overarching wish for us to remember suffering. For example, one bird was singing outside the tent. And of course, romantically, one could think, oh, what a lovely tune, what a nice sound, etc., etc. And so Rinpoche, of course, just said to us, listen to that bird outside. And he said, sound of suffering. So, there was no break from suffering, hell realm, karma, which was helping us to get a good grip on the path of the small capacity person in the Lamrim, trying to make us see the importance of generating, goodness, wholesome action, and avoiding negative action, which is, of course, the basis of the path and the way to attain at least a human rebirth, so one could continue on one's spiritual path. So this Rinpoche was emphasizing. And it was highly skillful the way it all worked, because in the evenings, Lama Yeshe would teach, and he would kind of pick us up out of the semi-depression some of us might have been in after the morning teachings from Rinpoche, which were designed to make us serious and worried, I think. And of course, teachings on death. Let's not forget death and so forth. But Lama would then teaching in the evening. He was teaching on a text of Maitreya's, I think Uttanamche, I think That is, I think that's the text in English, discerning between the extremes, but I'm not sure. And he taught on the practices of the Bodhisattva in the evening, and that was much more light and wonderful and joyful. So we had interesting times there with Rinpoche and Lama, and hard work because there's hardly any water at Kopan in those days. So we would go down to a spring on the side of the mountain on the northern side of Kopan and bring up water in buckets. There weren't that many monks there, of course, at that time, but there were quite a few people on the course, 200 perhaps, something like that. So one needed a lot of water. And so we did a lot of karma yoga at that time. Later, again, I had the great good fortune to be with Rinpoche up in Laudo. This was maybe 1981. Lama Yeshe was there. The previous Charok Lama was there. And that was a very extraordinary time, which I mainly remember for the amazing Mahakala Pujas they did and for the indigestible wheat dumpling soup, which I ate too much of and was farting all night while the puja was going on downstairs in the Gompa. The drums were beating and I was passing wind regularly, but in a strange sort of way enjoying it because it was a new experience. But yeah, it was uncomfortable and I was tired the next day. But yeah, extraordinary pujas and teachings. Rinpoche gave initiation of the Great Compassionate One, Chenrezig. I think at that session, Lama, who was sitting, of course, on the ground, way below Rinpoche, who was the teacher, but of course, Lama was the guru of Rinpoche, but Lama was on the floor in front of Rinpoche. And once or twice he said, "Hurry up, Rinpoche, hurry up, you're taking too long." Because Rinpoche would go on and on, as the, in the motivation and so forth. But that was Rinpoche. And that's how we remember him as someone who went so deeply into the teachings. I remember his bodhicitta motivations as being kind of something out of this world. Back at Kapan, the bodhicitta motivations he gave, for example, after that first Kapan course I did, is just like, one was transported into another realm, one felt. It was so powerful, so from Rinpoche's experience of bodhicitta, it was just extraordinary. Of course, that doesn't last in an ordinary mind like mine, but one does remember the great, really the inspiration we all got from Rinpoche, and of course also Lama Yeshe at that time. Also remember the sort of domestic side of it, where Rinpoche was up at Laudo, so enjoying the cooking of his mother, the potato preparations, the potato pancakes, and all of those things Rinpoche loved very much. The Sherpa food, being a Sherpa himself, of course. And, recently Nicola and I were up on the pilgrimage in that area in Laudo, where we spent some, 10, 12 days, was it? At least trekking, and then spending 5 nights, 6 nights at Laudo itself, spending a few nights, 2 or 3 nights in Rinpoche's birthplace, the village of Thame, and seeing not the original house Rinpoche lived in, but a new building on the site of Rinpoche's original house where he was born, and the prayer wheel next to it. And as an extraordinary, powerful and sad example of impermanence, just on the 15th, 16th, I think, of August, just now, in other words, devastating flood, glacial lake outburst event happened, more and more common in the high Himalayas, and the whole of that village was just washed away. The guest houses where Nicola and I stayed just washed away in the waters and the sludge. Luckily, no one died. A few animals, I think, died, but no humans because they had been warned. They went to higher ground. Rinpoche's house was spared. It's on the side that was spared, as was the prayer wheel. Water came up apparently to the door or very close to the prayer wheel, but didn't enter, didn't harm the prayer wheel in any way. The rest of the village was destroyed. and will take ages for them to presumably restore. And there's always the danger now, due to climate change, of those high glacial lakes bursting with the excess water in them due to the melting. And this event could happen again and again. So I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to build. They'll probably not build in such a traditional way. Who knows? They may have to leave that area. I have no idea. Right now, the army has been trying to restore some semblance of whatever order and help people. So right now, many people, I think, are sheltering at the monastery and also at Laudo, which is high up on the mountainside. And you could say protected in many ways geologically, and also by the amazing Amoga Pasha painting, huge painting, mural on the rock above Kapan, where we also.
The house, the birth house of Rinpoche is actually hosting the family of the Yak Hotel. So it's one example of Rinpoche benefiting.
Yeah, so Rinpoche, yeah, thank you, Nicola. When we were there, we constantly getting reminders of how Rinpoche had benefited that area and various people and the monastery. Just everyone had stories about how Rinpoche's life had affected them in a most beneficial way. And this continued till now, as Nicola just mentioned to me, that people are sheltering now in Rinpoche's house. The owners of the Yak Hotel, where I was staying. Did you stay in the Yak? Nicola was in another hotel. I was staying in the Yak with, I don't know, 10, 15 other people from the pilgrimage. And that was completely washed away. So the owners of that hotel are currently residing in Rinpoche's house. And they also, I think they had special responsibility for taking care of that house. So they are there now. So Rinpoche, in that sense, still benefiting people with his parents' choice of house location, very wise on the side, which escaped the devastating waters. There are many other things one could say. I think I mentioned several times the story of Rinpoche and the mosquitoes, baring his back at night, taking off his mosquito net and his shirt, mosquitoes to have a feast on his back somewhere in North India, I think, during pilgrimage. Roger finding him in that state and wondering what's going on. And he said he was just feeding the mosquitoes. All they wanted was a little drop of blood, what's the big deal? Like that. And then Rinpoche in the airplane, not eating the food. Roger asking why. He's saying, well, if you could see the other beings in this airplane who were also wanting to have this food but couldn't, referring to the hungry ghosts, the hungry ghost realm beings who cannot imbibe any kind of nourishment from food and drink due to karmic obstacles. If you could see them, you would also not want to eat, but you would also just want to pray for them. And it said that, of course, prayers of high beings can enable these pretas or hungry ghosts to get some kind of benefit or nourishment from the food. But of course, Rinpoche would just pass back the tray of food untouched, to the hostess. So Roger, got a direct teaching there on Preta realm and compassion from Rinpoche in the airplane. And the rest, we don't need to say much more. It's the swift return prayers, they're so eloquent from His Holiness and from Khadrola and from Jado Rinpoche. So they, in a nutshell, speak about Rinpoche's great qualities and benefit for others. He was personally very kind to me, personally very kind. A lot of advice he gave up to the months before he passed away, which I'm still able to follow now. He's basically given me advice on how to what to practice, what purification to do, so on and so forth. So for me at least, and I'm sure for many others, Rinpoche's kindness is abiding. And several really good practitioners I know in our organization, they say that for them, Rinpoche's presence is even more powerful now, even more powerful since he passed away. They feel Rinpoche is very, very close to them. So this is so wonderful and testament not only to Rinpoche, but to the students' devotion. This is very wonderful. So anyway, just a few words there. Sorry if it went on too long. Yeah, one is not, yeah, the traditional Tibetans will, of course, not even mention the name of their lamas. They, it's like for them too holy to mention the lama in terms of a name. They would say things like, my holy guru, whose name is so hard to express, things like that. But I've been, mentioning Rinpoche's name again and again. So it just shows the degeneration that is set in, if you like, in this day and age and in my mind. Anyway, for those of us at Tushita, we'll remember Rinpoche's amazing teachings and his beginning of his transmission of the Sutra of Golden Light, which in some ways is very auspicious. It means that maybe Rinpoche, when Rinpoche comes back, he'll continue with that transmission. I think we have the text here, and the page is marked where Rinpoche left off. So when he comes back and is old enough, we'll say, please carry on. Some of us will remember that. Anyway, let's start now with the prayers. But before we do, we can just remember the Lama and generate bodhicitta, which was, you could say Rinpoche was a manifestation of the highest level of bodhicitta, united with emptiness and bliss, since there's no doubt he was oneness with the enlightened mind. Yeah, totally activated and actualized his Rinpoche's Buddha nature. So let us reflect on the degeneration of this time, the suffering of beings, which daily is manifested in the news, which we can see on many apparatuses. The suffering of war, the suffering of hunger and thirst, the suffering of torture, suffering, of famine, the suffering of diseases, the new diseases, which before they kill people, they even instill fear worldwide. So all this, apart from all the daily suffering and unsatisfactoriness of samsara, you could say the workaday suffering. Please, remembering this, we can generate compassion and remember Milarepa's words also, that where he says, toss to the winds your concern for this life, bring to your mind the unknown time of your death, remembering the pain of samsara. Why do you long for the unnecessary? So let's meditate for a few minutes on longing for the unnecessary and on compassion for ourselves and all beings. How wonderful it would be if all beings were free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free of suffering and its causes. I myself will enable them to be free of suffering and its causes. I myself will take responsibility. As Rinpoche used to say, even if that means doing so by myself alone. Please, Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, bless me, enable me, bestow in your inspiring strength to enable me to do this. Please, Guru, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, bestow your inspiring strength to enable me to do this. Those of us who know, and even if you don't know, you can imagine Rinpoche smiling at us, laughing, that wonderful laugh, inspiring us to be able to do this. Once I asked the great, lovely abbot, ex-abbot, passed away now, of Kapan, Lama Lundrup. He was giving a teaching at our Kathmandu center. And I asked him, Lama Lundrup, what is the meaning of blessings? And he gave a very good practical answer. He said, well, you think of your guru, imagine your guru, and imagine he's smiling at you, laughing and smiling at you. And how do you feel? That's your blessing. So Rinpoche smiled and laughed many times in this very Gompa on the throne. So this space is maybe forever blessed. Okay, so now we can, I think we do the Manjushri prayers now. So I won't say anything about this text because it's just too extraordinary for me to say anything about it. But again, if we get a chance, anyone to get a transmission of it or the commentary, that's a wonderful thing. So we'll recite it not too fast, because if it's too fast, then yeah, it's kind of, we don't need to be in that much of a hurry. So again, just bring the motivation to mind. Okay. So in our brochure, in our text, page 3, chanting the names of noble Manjushri from the words of the Buddha. In the Indian language, Arya Manjushri Namas Sangiti. In Tibetan, Apa Jampel Ki Sen Yang Dakpara Jepa. In English, chanting the names of the noble Manjushri. Homage to ever youthful Manjushri. Then Vajradhara, ever glorious, supreme subduer of the heart tame, the hero conquering the triple world, the Vajra lord and master of all secrets, with eyes wide open like white lotuses, his face just like a lily in full bloom, while shaking in his hand repeatedly a Vajra of the highest excellence, accompanied by countless Vajrapanis, with features such as fierce, turbulent brows, subduers of the heart to tame, heroes appearing with heroic, hideous forms, brandishing in their hands their mighty Vajras, tips of which emit intensive light, great benefactors to all living beings through skill, through insight, and through great compassion, with pleased and happy attitudes, with joy, their bodies, those of wrathful deities, protectors who assist the Buddha's deeds, their bodies bowing reverentially, paid homage to the true awakened one, protector, blessed one, Tathagat, and joining his two palms respectfully, he said before the Lord the following, O omnipresent Lord, for my well-being, with due concern for me and for my sake, that I may reach complete awakening upon the basis of illusion's net, and for the sake of every living being sunk deep into the mud of ignorance, their thoughts disturbed by various afflictions, so that they may obtain the highest fruit, may you, the most supreme awakened one, the blessed one, the world's guru and teacher, who knows the great Samaya's reality, aware of wishes and abilities, reveal to us the great name chanting of the wisdom body of the Blessed One, the great Vishnisha, master of all speech, the self-arising wisdom emanation, wisdom deity called Manjushri. These names with meaning both profound and vast, of great significance, unmatched, serene, with goodness at their start, middle, and end, proclaimed by Buddhas of the eons past, and to be taught by Buddhas yet to come, and taught not once but time and time again by all the Buddhas of the present age, which were respectfully recited in illusion's net, the Tantra most supreme, by multitudes of mighty Vajrapanis, the joyous guardians of secret mantras. Just this I shall uphold with firm resolve until I reach my final liberation, so that I may become, O great protector, the bearer of the Buddha's every secret, and this I shall reveal to living beings according to each one's capacity, in order that afflictions may be quelled, so ignorance may fully be dispelled. With this request to thee, Tathagata, the master of all secrets, Vajrapani, his body bowed, his palms politely joined, then stood before the Lord devotedly. And so the Blessed One, Lord Shakyamuni, the best of men, the fully awakened one, extending from his mouth his handsome tongue, a tongue unmatched in both its breadth and length, displaying a gentle smile to living being, a smile that fills a threefold world with light, that tames the enemy, the four maras, that ends unwanted birth in all three forms. His voice, melodious like that of Brahma, completely filling all the triple world, replied as follows to the Lord of Secrets, to Vajrapani, strongest of the strong, that you, abounding in supreme compassion and aiming to assist all living beings, are willing and prepared to hear from me this evil-quelling, purifying chanting, the chanting of the name so filled with meaning of Manjushri's embodiment of wisdom. How truly excellent, O Vajradhara, how excellent of you, O Vajrapani. And so I shall, O master of all secrets, reveal just that to you most splendidly, with single-minded focus. Listen well. How excellent, responded Vajrapani. So truly excellent, O Blessed One. And then the Blessed One, Lord Shakyamuni, surveyed in full the family great with mantras, the family of the Vidyas and the mantras, the family that is threefold by its nature, family orb and yet beyond the world, the family great in brightening the world, the foremost family of Mahamudra, and so the family great with great Ushnishas. And then about the Lord of Speech he spoke these verses, which include 6 kingly mantras, which manifest from non-duality, which bear the quality of non-arising. A I I U E O Astito Erde Jnana Murti Raham Buddho Buddhanam Trayadhyavartanam Om Bhadra Tikshna Dhoka Cheda Pragya Jnana Murtaye Jnana Kaya Vagishvara Arapachanaye Te Nama. And so he is the Blessed One, the Buddha, awakened fully, born of the letter R. He is the letter R, the foremost phoneme, suprememost syllable with meaning great, arising from the great vital force, unborn, beyond expression based on words or speech, the foremost cause of every form of speech, the shining forth of every kind of language, great feast who takes the form of great passion, producing bliss in every sentient being, great feast who takes the form of great anger, great enemy of every mental poison, great feast who is by nature great delusion, delusion's vanquisher for deluded mind, great feast who is in essence great fury, great adversary to all furiousness, great feast who takes the form of great desire, who vanquishing desire in all form, he is great carnal lust, he is great bliss, he is great happiness, he is great joy, with great appearance, bearing form supreme, with great complexion marked by great physique, with great renown, the great munificent one, his mandala voluminous and great, the bearer of the mighty sword of wisdom, foremost good for taming great affliction, possessing great renown, his glory great, his brightness great, his luster most supreme, most wise upholder of the great illusion, fulfiller of the great illusion's aim, enraptured by the great illusion's rapture, the great illusion's great illusionist, the foremost lord of great munificence, supreme upholder of great discipline, intense supporter of great tolerance, with valor rooted in great diligence, samadhi resting through great meditation, endowed with bodies flowing from great wisdom, both great in strength and great in skillful means, a brimming ocean filled with vows and knowledge, by nature great in kindness, limitless, the foremost mind enriched by great compassion, of great insight, of great intelligence, great dexterous one with methods ever great, commanding powers and great miracles, with driving force supreme, with speed unmatched, renowned great lord of foremost majesty, most valorous owing to his great might, destroying the massive mountain of becoming, unyielding, holding strong a massive Vajra, great terrifying lord, the great cruel one, provoking fear in great and daunting creatures, protector as the greatest of all Vidyas, a guru as the greatest of all mantras, traversing well the Mahayana's path, himself the Mahayana's foremost way. He is Mahavarochana, the Buddha, great sage, observing great intensive silence, arising from the great mantra way. He is at heart the great mantra way, accomplished in the 10 paramitas, having the 10 paramitas as home, in whom the 10 paramitas are pure, for whom the 10 paramitas are means, protector reigning over all 10 grounds, residing steadily on all 10 grounds, made pure in nature by the tenfold knowledge, maintaining purity through tenfold knowledge, with tenfold forms intent on tenfold content, with tenfold strength pervasive, Lord of sages, achieving every aim for every being, endowed with tenfold mastery supreme, beginningless, complexity devoid, by nature pure reality in essence, unwavering, a speaker of the truth, with speech and actions perfectly aligned, a teacher of the non-dual truth, non-dual, atop reality's most lofty peak, with selflessness his wild lions roar, instilling fear in deer-like misled seekers, with journeys fruitful, traveling everywhere, as swift as thought in all Tathagatas, victor, slayer of foes, triumphant Lord, the universal king with forces great, assembly head, instructor for assembly, assembly lord, assembly chief, the ruler, most influential, bearing precious burdens, not other bound, his way, the greatest way, the lord of speech, the master of expression, most skilled in words, adept with language, truthful, with boundless words, the teacher of the truth, providing teachings on the fourfold truth, not coming back, not turning round, Rhino, the leader of the Pratyeka Buddhas, gone forth by going forth in different ways, the single cause of all great elements, Arhat, Bhikshu, defilements exhausted, devoid of passion, master of the senses, arrived at comfort, met with security, for he, having cooled down, is free from stains, equipped and full with knowledge and its base, a Sugata, best knower of the world, not thinking me, not clinging onto mine, established in the system of true truths, upon the edge of cyclic life's far shore, with deeds accomplished resting on the bank, emerging from untainted lone awareness, with sword-like insight ever penetrating, the Son, the Dharma King, the noble Dharma, supreme illuminator of the world, the Dharma Lord, the sovereign of the Dharma, the teacher of the path to excellence, accomplishing all goals of fulfilling aims, completely free from wants of any kind, bereft of thought, a non-depleting source, the Dharma source, a supreme beyond decay, enriched by merit, merits gathering, unique great wisdom, wisdom rich, aware of what exists and what does not, while gathering, twofold gathering, eternal yogin, king of everywhere, the object of mind of concentration, the master of intelligent reflection, for by oneself alone is he experienced, immovable, the ultimate beginning, the holder of the three enlightened bodies, the Buddha formed of five embodiments, the omnipresent made of five wisdoms, his diadem with five awakened ones, with all five eyes maintaining non-attachment, the great progenitor of all the Buddha's eminent and foremost son, arising from the world of true insight, the sourceless Dharma source, existence ending, comprised of Vajra's holy dense and firm, the newborn sovereign ruler of the world, emerging from the sky, the self arisen, a massive blaze of knowledge and of insight, illuminating beacon of great light, a lamp of wisdom shining brilliantly, a light for beings, a lantern unto wisdom, with energy supreme, most radiant, Vidya King, the greatest mantra's Lord, the mantra king achieving noble aims, the great Ushnisha, marvelous Ushnisha, the Lord of space, revealer of all things, the best embodiment of every Buddha, with eyes the joy of every living being, creator manifesting varied forms, great sage, deserving praise, deserving worship, a mantrin born into the triple family, upholding mantras of the foremost pledge, the greatest bearer of the triple gem, who teaches all three peerless vehicles, with snare unfailing, most victorious, the snatcher ever great, the Vajra snare, the Vajra hook, the snare of excellence. Called Vajra Bhairav, he is terrific, six-faced, the king of anger, hideous, six-eyed, six-armed, the ever-powerful, bearing his terrible fangs, a skeleton, hala hala, 100 faces proud, the Yama killer, ruling obstacle, instilling fear with Vajra impetus, the Vajra hearted, famous for his Vajra, with belly large, with Vajras of illusion, the Vajra born, sovereign of the Vajra, akin to space, his core comprised of Vajras, unmoving, haughty, with his single dreadlock, his clothes an elephant's raw hide, still moist, the great terrific one who cries, ha ha, who screams, he, instilling fervent fear, his laugh a screeching laugh, a booming laugh, he is the Vajra laugh, the mighty howl, he is a noble sattva, Vajra sattva, the Vajra's sovereign lord, the highest bliss, the Vajra's wrathfulness, the highest joy, intoning hungs of Vajra hunkara, with Vajra arrows serving as his weapon, his sword comprised of Vajra slashing all, upholding every Vajra bearing, with just a single Vajra ending strife, with eyes like Vajra fire, truly dreadful, with hair that's like a Vajra set ablaze, immersion of the Vajra, great immersion, with eyes like Vajra's eyes 100-fold, with Vajra hairs that sprout upon his body, his unique figure marked by Vajra hairs, with nails advancing, Vajras at their tips, with skin that's solid like a Vajra's core, a splendid master donning Vajra garland, adorned with Vajra fashioned ornaments, with booming voice, his laughter crying, ha ha, 6 syllable, producing Vajra rumbles, great Manju Ghosh, soon supremely loud, a roar unique unto the threefold world, the voice that reaches unto space, preeminent amongst all, voice endowed. He is a being whose fully realized truth, reality it speak, and selflessness, supreme in propagating emptiness, unspoken, teaching both the deep and vast, the Dharma conch emitting piercing sound, the Dharma gong with lasting resonance, arriving at unbounded liberation. He is the Dharma drum in all directions, without a form, with handsome form supreme, replete with forms diverse, comprised of mind, with splendor shining through his every form, with all reflections under his control, invincible, renowned as Lord Supreme, the Lord Supreme who rules the threefold world, abiding on the noble's lofty path, great source of flourishing, the Dharma's crown, with youthful form unique unto all worlds, the elder, senior, father of all beings, adorned with 32 auspicious marks, most beautiful, most handsome in all worlds, the teacher teaching mundane good and knowledge, the teacher to all beings, most confident, the world's most trusted guide, protector, savior, the refuge unsurpassed, the guardian, with rich enjoyments filling all of space, with knowledge ocean of omniscient being, while smashing through the shell of ignorance, breaking through the cage of cyclic life, the thorough queller of intense affliction, arriving at samsara's opposite shore, his crown, the crown of wisdom, consecration, his ornaments comprising perfect Buddhas, the soother of the pain of threefold pain, the ender of the trio ending free, arriving at the threefold liberation, completely free of every obscuration, having achieved equality skylight beyond the stains of every last affliction, aware of timelessness in all three times, most eminent amongst all sentient beings, the crown amongst those crowned with noble virtue, completely free from every kind of substrate, established firmly on the path of space, a splendid wish-fulfilling jewel in hand, the best of all is precious, omnipresent, great wish-fulfilling tree, most plentiful, the greatest of all great auspicious vases, fulfilling the aims of living beings, a doer, an ally, most beloved to all creatures, aware of good and bad, aware of time, the omnipresent knower of the pledges, upholding pledges, conscious of occasions, awake to varied aptitudes in being, with expertise in threefold liberation, with virtues, knowing dharma, auspicious, source of all auspiciousness, of all auspicious things, the most auspicious, great splendor, glory, good, most prosperous, great reassurance, foremost celebration, great joyousness, the highest form of pleasure, abundance, reverence, action, venerable, great happiness, the noble Lord of splendor, the greatest granter of all wishes, wishful, the highest source of refuge, refuge granting, the fearsome enemy of potent danger, alleviating danger in all forms, with tufts of hair, with plumes of luscious hair, with matted hair, with matted locks, cord tied, 5 faced with 5 hair tufts, his head well crowned, his head adorned with garlands of 5 strands, upholding great observances, head shaven, foremost of observances, chaste student, with great austerities perfected fully. He is the greatest Veda, Gautama, a Brahman, Brahma, knower of Brahman, arrived in full at Brahman Nirvana, awakening his branches, liberation, release, complete tranquility, quiescence, Nirvana, peacefulness, tranquility, approaching graceful entry to Nirvana, the culmination, ending pain and pleasure, a state devoid of passion, free from substrates, beyond defeat, unmanifest, unmatched, not making manifest, appearance free, pervasive, timeless, fully omnipresent, minute, beyond defilements, seed free, unstained, devoid of passion, passionless, controlling humors, free from every illness, by nature most awakened, fully awake, omniscient, knowing everything, supreme, beyond reality is consciousness, pristine awareness, bearing non-dual form, beyond conceptualization, effort-free, acting as Buddhas do in every age, the Buddha endless and beginningless, the Buddha at the start, devoid of sequence, with wisdom as his only eye, unstained, the Tathagata with wisdom as his body, sovereign of all language, great debater, the king of discourse, best of auditors, the best and greatest of communicators, the unassailable, the lion of speech, with universal vision, true delight, with 5 garlands, handsome to behold, the endless knot, most radiant, great luster, with shining rays in hand, providing light, the best and foremost of all great physicians, unequaled in removing thorns of pain, a tree providing medicine for all, a foe opposing every malady, the lovely crowning jewel of all 3 worlds, a cluster of the stars most glorious, the end of space in all its 10 directions, the hoisting high of Dharma's victory flag, sharing one large umbrella with the world, with love and kindness as his mandala, the celebrated lotus lord of dance, pervasive with his precious parasol, a blazing energy of all the Buddhas, with bodies fully shared by all the Buddhas, the highest union form with all the Buddhas, the single teaching taught by all the Buddhas, most glorious with Vajra Ratna's blessing, the highest sovereign Lord of Sarva Ratna, the King Supreme of Sarva Lokeshwar, the Lord on high of Sarva Vajradhara, the quintessential mind of Sarva Buddha, residing in the mind of every Buddha, the greatest body born by every Buddha, with a lovely speech enriching every Buddha, the scorching brightness from the Vajra sun, with stainless luster from the Vajra moon, with passion of the passionless and others, with multicolored rays that brightly blaze, the perfect Buddhas, perfect Vajra posture, retaining for all beings the Buddha's Dharma, the lotus Buddha's celebrated sun, knowledge treasure for the omniscient, the sovereign king, controller of all illusion, the foremost master of the Buddha's spell, called Vajratikshana, sword supremely mighty, completely pure, the highest syllable, atop pain's remedy, the Mahayana, with Vajra Dharma as his mighty weapon, with Vajra depth renowned as Jinajik, with Vajra thought aware of how things are, affecting all perfections perfectly, adorned by all the grounds of bodhisattvas, the selflessness of pure phenomena, with luster that is moonlight unto knowledge, with great endeavors as illusory nets, the foremost master ruling every tantra, endowed in full with every vajra posture, completely furnished with all wisdom bodies, completely good with intellect supreme, the embryo of earth sustaining being, great embryo from which all Buddhas form, with emanation circles most diverse, the highest nature of all entities, supportive of the nature of all things, with goals for all, with dharmas unarisen, supportive of the nature of all dharmas, with full awareness of phenomena, in but an instant as the wisest sage, with vivid realization of all dharmas. He is a sage, the greatest intellect, the vanquisher of hosts of evil spirits, unwavering, completely pure in nature, grasping the wakefulness of perfect Buddha, the direct realization of all Buddhas. He is the flame of wisdom, luminous, the great fulfiller of desired aims, the purifier of all evil states, the greatest of all living beings, protector, the earnest liberator of all creatures, unrivaled knight in battle with affliction, humiliating ignorance, his foe, the celebrated mind of amorousness, endowed with forms heroic and repulsive, the dancer moving to and fro, his hundreds of lengthy arms while setting down his stride, the dancer spreading through the whole of space, filling it with Srimat's 100 arms, stood tall atop the surface of the earth, the sole of just 1 foot pervading all, stood tall atop the summit of the world, the nail of his big toe surprising all, whose aim is one, whose aim is non-dual dharma, whose aim is ultimate beyond destruction, whose mind consists in groups of consciousness with varied objects, forms, and cognizance, amused with every object of existence, a mind of passion, loving emptiness, transcending worldly passion and the like, with great enjoyment for the threefold world, with fair complexion white like pristine clouds, with radiance like beams from autumn moon, with luster reviling the morning sun, with names emitting light of crimson red, whose handsome crown has sterling sapphire, whose hair has tips of sapphire deep blue, with glory from the light of his great jewel, adorned with emanations of the Buddha, shaker of 100 worldly realms, his strength the 4 miraculous powers, reality with mindfulness supreme, samadhi king of fourfold mindfulness, infused with sense from bloom on Bodhi's branches, an ocean of Tathagat virtue, with knowledge of the Eightfold Path's true way, with knowledge of the path of perfect Buddha, the great attachment of all living beings, attachment free, comparable to space, when springing up in every creature's mind, he is for every being a swift of mind, aware of all the aptitudes of being, while captivating every creature's mind, with insight into aggregated nature, himself with fully pure 5 aggregates, atop the peak of every going forth, most skilled in going forth in every way, established on all paths of going forth, the teacher of all forms of going forth, uprooting all becoming with 12 links, endowed with purity in all 12 forms, his form the way of fourfold noble truth, with realization of the eightfold knowledge, with meaning of the truths in 12-fold form, aware of suchness in its 16 forms, with true awakening in 20 forms, awakened fully, knowing all supreme, dispatching countless sets of some 10 million embodiments of emanating Buddhas, the final realization of all moments, who knows each moment's object for all minds, manifesting for the sake of being, with means derived from varied vehicles, born forth by way of all 3 vehicles, remaining in the single vehicle's fruit, with purified afflictive spheres at heart, annihilating every karmic sphere, arrived atop dry land from flooding ocean, emerged from yoga's perilous dark grove, released from general minor and complete afflictions and their latent tendencies, with insight, means, and foremost empathy, achieving fruitful aims for living beings, abiding object-free through all perception, with consciousness as object, with cessation, with every being the object of his mind, with knowledge that's the mind of all the Buddhas, residing in the mind of every being, having become their mind's equality, and satisfying the mind of every being. He is for every being great inner joy, confusion-free regarding points of doctrine, completely free from error in all its forms, his thinking free from doubt, his object threefold, his object all three properties by nature, throughout 3 times the content of 5 skandhas, discerning clearly each and every moment, awakening in but a single moment, his basic nature equal to all the Buddhas, with body bodiless, the best of bodies, with realization of the peak of body, displaying his form in every possible way. He is the greatest stone, the precious gem. What all the perfect Buddhas are to know, the Buddha's unsurpassed awakening, devoid of syllables, yet born of mantra, arising from great mantras, threefold family, father to the meaning of all mantras, the greatest Bindu, void of syllables, with great syllables, great empty one, 100 syllable, devoid of Bindu, endowed with every form, yet free from form, supporting half of 16 Bindus, transcending every grouping, void of members, sustaining dhyana's fourth and final peak, aware of dhyanas each and every aspect, with knowledge of samadhi's types and families, the best of bodies, body of samadhi, sovereign king of all enjoyment bodies, the best of bodies, emanation body, the heir to emanations of the Buddhas, with varied emanations everywhere, while benefiting all however needed, the sovereign of the gods, the god of gods, Asura Lord, the lord of mortals, the king of varieties, the god's guru, the highest lord of Paramatha, emerged from cyclic life's empowering forest, the single teacher, guru for all beings, in every well-known world in all directions, the eminent bestower of the Dharma, concealed by armor made of loving kindness, well shielded by the shield of empathy, with wisdom sword in hand, with bow and arrow, concluding war with ignorance and klesha, Mara's enemy and tamer hero, eliminating threats from all form Maras, defeating all the armies of the Maras, a guide for living beings, the perfect Buddha, deserving homage, worthy of respect, reverence, always honorable, deserving worship, worthy of regard, the highest Guru ever venerable, traversing all 3 worlds in just one stride, his step extending past the bounds of space, with knowledge of the 3 well versed and pure, with 6-fold higher knowledge and recall, the Bodhisattva and Mahasattva, with power great transcending worldly life, perfected by his excellence of insight, now unified with insight's highest nature, the whole aware of self, aware of other, fit for all, he is the best of men, surpassing all to which he is compared, supreme most lord of knowing and what's known, the foremost master of imparting dharma, who shows the meaning of the fourfold seal, the most revered amongst all living beings, engaged in going forth on all 3 paths, with glory purified by ultimate truth, most fortunate within the threefold world, the celebrated source of all endowment, supreme among the glorious Manjushri. Homage to you, boon granter, best of Vajras, O summit of existence, homage to you, whose source is emptiness, O Buddha's awakening, homage to you, O passion of the Buddhas, homage to you, O desire of the Buddhas, I pay you homage, O love of every Buddha, homage to you, the joy of all the Buddhas, I pay you homage, O smile of every Buddha, homage to you, the laugh of all the Buddhas, pay you homage, O speech of every Buddha, homage to you, the heart of all the Buddhas, I pay you homage, arisen from non-being, homage to you, arisen from the Buddhas, arisen from the sky, homage to you, born of pristine wisdom, O net of illusion, homage to you, the Buddha's spectacle, homage to you, the everything of all, O body of wisdom, homage to you. O Sarva Dharma Bhava Swabhava Vishuddha Vajra A Prakriti Parishuddha Sarva Dharma Yaduta Sarva Tathagata Jnanakaya Manjushri Parishuddhitam Upadayate Sarva Tathagata Hirdam Hara Hara Om Hung Hri Bhagavan Jnana Murti Vagishvara Mahavacha Sarva Dharma Ganganamala Suparishuddha Dharma Dhatu Jnana Garbha Then Vajradhara, ever glorious, most pleased and satisfied with folded palms, prostrated to the Buddha, noble God, the Blessed One, the Lord, the Tathagata, and with a host of other Vajrapanis of varied forms, the lords of Guyakal, sublime protectors, noble, wrathful kings, he then exclaimed this effervescent praise. Our Tector, we rejoice. How excellent that you have clearly taught. Through our lofty aim has been achieved, which leads to true and full awakening. And so the aims of helpless mundane beings who seek the fruits of perfect liberation, just this taught in the Maya Jala is the noble path that leads to excellence, with largeness, vastness, and profundity, with meaning great, achieving being's aims. Just this comprises every Buddha sphere. Just this is taught by all awakened ones. This concludes the supreme chanting of the names of the Blessed One Manjushri, the wisdom deity, extracted from the noble net of illusion, a Mahayoga Tantra in 16,000 parts, from its chapter on the net of Samadhi, to spoken by the Blessed One Shakyamuni, the Tathagata. Let's meditate and rejoice for a few minutes. How wonderful it is to have had this opportunity to recite this extraordinary practice. By doing so, may we all become just like Manjushri, the great Master Manjushri, Buddha. Do you do His Holiness first or Rinpoche's prayers first? So now we can recite the long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is currently in New York, and maybe long life puja still perhaps going on for His Holiness. Usually they are 2 or 3 hour affairs at least. So again, we can all remember we've all had some connection with His Holiness, even if it's just online. And many of us have seen His Holiness in person. It's due to His Holiness's kindness, escaping from Tibet and flourishing the Dharma in India and the West and the East, everywhere. Due to His Holiness's kindness, we are here. So His Holiness already 89 years old this year. Yeah. Born in 1935. So he has promised us, His Holiness has promised us several times that His Holiness's lifespan can be well over 100, 110, 111. So may His Holiness have an extraordinarily long life. And of course, always remain with us in our hearts, on the crown of our heads. So this just brief relative prayer. So what we recited regarding Manjushri, that applies to His Holiness in every way. He is Avalokiteshvar, he is Manjushri, he is everything combined. His Holiness is a Buddha. So praying for the long life of a Buddha, this very good fortune for us. We can recite it in English. In English? Or do you know the Tibetan tune? Oh, good. You wanna? So Nicola will recite the Dakini tune. It's very auspicious. And then we'll recite it in English. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And now the swift return prayers for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So I think we do the first three and in the booklet. Yeah. So starting with the prayer kindly composed by His Holiness, which you have there, I think is coming up on the screen. Great. Thank you. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddha, victorious Losang, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. And what His Holiness has written in the colophon is that while it is devastating that Zopa Rinpoche has departed in this way, the most important thing is that when he was with us, he made the precious mind of enlightenment, the bodhicitta, the foundation of his practice. And so, if his followers who have been left behind properly emulate the Guru's life, it is exactly that which will definitely fulfill Rinpoche's wishes. Therefore, keep this in mind, and from now on, also make request to the three jewels and earnest dedication prayers. Then the prayer by the great Lama Khenso Jado Rinpoche. Patient in bearing the hardships, spreading the teachings of the Muni in general, and the teachings of the victorious Jamgon Tsongkhapa in hundreds of directions, Lord of Dharma, holding the three vows and wearing saffron robes, please quickly return as the glory of the peerless teachings. You held the teachings, explanation, and practice with great asceticism. Unable to bear the transmigratory beings are confused by the darkness of suffering. Through your great loving kindness, you skillfully led them to happiness. Unparalleled Son of the teachings, please return quickly. Beautified by the ornament of supreme patience in increasing the practice of the supreme authentic teachings of the victorious one, through listening, reflection, and meditation, guide of all transmigratory beings along the perfect path, true and perfect pure Guru, please return quickly. Then I'll read the colophon that Jyoti Rinpoche wrote. This request for a swift return of the sublime being, the supreme refuge, Thupten Zopa Rinpoche, who actualized the power of his bodhicitta prayers by spreading the teachings of the victorious one in general, and in particular the teachings of Jamgon, the second victorious one, to the furthest limit in all directions, was composed on the occasion of his having displayed the act of passing into peace, with the prayer that his profound, immaculate wishes be completely fulfilled, and that the youthful moon of his unmistaken reincarnation will be found with certainty. Then the prayer that was written very, very soon after Rinpoche passed away by the great yogini Ranjung Neljorma Kadro Seringma, whom we call Kadrola in short. She apparently composed this in the airplane on the way to Nepal, from wherever she was, I think in the West, possibly. Yeah. Guru, think of me. Guru, consider me. Most gracious root Guru, care for me. Most gracious root Guru, do not deprive us of your compassionate refuge. Listen and consider this heartfelt prayer made by a tormented disciple. Guru, embodiment of the Buddhas of the three times, please bless me. You may rest in all-pervading great bliss, equipoised within the dhatu of unimpeded luminosity, yet the playful dance of your loving compassion emanates in myriad ways. The time has come for the return of the swift appearance, your magical wisdom, the Rupakaya, and for you to care for us once again with your affectionate compassion. Arise, arise, arise from the Dharmakaya. I invoke you, I call upon you, I implore you on behalf of all beings. Do not rest in Khechara or other pure realms. Rather, to benefit the Buddha's teachings and all living beings, swiftly return to this southern continent to spread the Buddha Dharma of study and realization. Quickly return to guide us, poor, wretched beings. Such is the desperate cry of us, your disciples. Return so that we may actually behold your presence and receive the blessings of your body, speech, and mind. All violations, errors, mistakes, and broken samaya that we have made in relation to your body, speech, mind, and spontaneous activity, through our being confused and conceiving things in erroneous ways, we confess within the luminous emptiness of your three kayas. Of everything auspicious, the supreme auspiciousness. May there be the auspiciousness of emptiness and compassion. May there be the auspiciousness of a timely meeting between master and disciples. Through the force of the truth of unchanging suchness, may the unmistaken incarnation return quickly. This lament was made by me, Darkini, with pure faith and samaya, her eyes filled with tears of sorrow. May these wishes of a beggar woman be fulfilled through the blessings of the deities of the three roots. Perception, its object, perceiver, all dissolve in the expanse, the blissful clarity, suchness. Ah. She says, I, Ranjung Neljorma Khandro Seringma, uttered these words as they came to me at a time of unbearable sadness. Let's meditate for a little while. pray that the meaning of these prayers are fulfilled. And since rejoicing was such a favorite practice of Rinpoche, which he emphasized us to do, let us rejoice that we had this occasion to practice these prayers together. The highly auspicious act of invoking the mind of the precious Lama to return. The most powerful object of merit is the Guru. So having enacted prayers connected with the Guru, this is unbelievable, incomparable blessing and merit. So think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Please rejoice for those who work in all the centers, all the Dharma centers worldwide, especially those of the FPMT, working day and night, many people, to preserve the teachings and spread it, to create conducive environments for people to actualize their potential for awakening. How wonderful it is. Especially for us, those who have worked at Tushita, to keep the center going, to restore it, to raise money, to whatever, whoever is working for Tushita in any way whatsoever, please rejoice. Those people rejoice, and other people rejoice in all this work for the Dharma. How wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Also, please dedicate for our kind landlady who has not been in good health for a long time. Her kindness in allowing us to use this space at a low rent. May she be in her years, whatever is left for her, may she not have pain and mental distress, and may she bear the fruits, accomplish the fruits of having helped Tushita for so many years. We can dedicate that anyone who has anything to do with the center, who even think of the center or check the center on Google Maps, whatever they do in connection with the center, and especially if they come to the center, enter the center, as Rinpoche used to say, may it be most beneficial for them, plant imprints in their mind to actualize emptiness, bodhicitta, renunciation, and so forth. May anyone who has anything to do with any of us, may that become a cause for those people to awaken. So whether they are helping us or harming us, criticizing us or praising us, may it be a cause for them to awaken. This is Shantideva's great prayer. Then may we all have long and healthy life and be able to actualize the Dharma. May we never be separated from the Dharma, never be separated from Mahayana gurus, such as the great late Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And may we have the good fortune, even those of us who are elderly, to meet with the new reincarnation and receive teachings in the future. May all those who are lonely, depressed, sad, for whatever reason, may they have happy minds and be motivated to and find may they find their way to the Dharma and practice. May all those who are practicing, may they not, may all the hindrances that arise be crushed very quickly through the power of blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May the Sanghas live in harmony. All the people working in the centers live in harmony without anger, jealousy, pride, and so forth. This being very essential for the smooth return of a Lama and the long life of the Lama. Harmony. May there be harmony in all the centers at Tushita Center. May Tushita Center continue to be supported in every way necessary, financially, in terms of volunteer help, and so forth. And all the people helping the center have good health and long life and happy minds. As His Holiness would say, may we all never give up. And as Rinpoche would say, when problems come, may we experience them with compassion. And as a result of any goodness that we have created here this evening, may it contribute to the lessening of famine, the alleviation of those who are living in conflict, the control and eradication of fatal diseases. May those who are hungry and thirsty find delicious food and drinks. As long as space endures, as long as living beings remain, may we too remain to dispel the sufferings of the world. And finally, may all our teachers who are alive now, may they have long and healthy lives and be most successful in flourishing the Dharma, far and wide. Also to those places where the Dharma has not yet reached, and to reawaken it in the land of India, where it originated. So again, thank you very much, everybody online and everybody here at Tushita. Please keep coming to Tushita and supporting the programs in person and online. Thank you. Yeah, we miss you, Nandita, and all of you. Sujitji, Sagar, everyone. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, missing Sagar.
Huh? Sagar gave samosas. Sagar Bhai, your samosas are here, but you're not here. Yeah. And what else? Sagar Bhai, miss kar gaye bhaiya. And anyway, thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Yes, we wish we could be there at Tushita. Yes, Nandita ji, I wish, even though you bring all these dubious chips and other items to eat. I guess it's the thought that counts, no? So thank you. Should we give them a chance to? Can you unmute them? Can I unmute them?
No.
Good evening, Kabir Ji.
Good evening, Nandita ji. How are you?
But sab theek hai, it's raining cats and dogs here.
Really? Oh.
Yes, very, very heavy rain.
If it had been a light rain, it would be considered auspicious, but I don't know what cats and dogs rain means. But anyway, hopefully your house is not floating, right?
No. So far, all right, Kabir Ji. Thank you.
Good.
And I guess all the unhealthy snacks that we used to bring
Yes.
became healthy after the pujas and the blessings, right?
Right. Yeah. They become very healthy. Yes. Yeah. And you won't believe it, but Ajir ji has applied orange henna in his hair. वो मेहंदी लगा दिए.
Acha, okay.
I couldn't believe it. Unless it was a mistake. Yeah. I want to take the photo. I'll be taking a photo. And you won't believe it. अब आप ही देख लीजिए. देख लीजिए. He's trying to hide in the dark.
He's maligning me.
Not maligning you.
He's maligning me.
Look at the
Nandita ji.
Look at the mehendi.
He's maligning me. She can't see.
She can't see. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to...
I can see. I can see that hint on his head.
Believe it. I thought maybe he made a mistake, or his wife.
He is even showing the racial prejudice also.
Oh, his wife applied it while he was sleeping. I'm not sure. It's really amazing. You can't get the full.
No. There's a lot that I can see, Kabir Ji. It's not
weird?
It's looking all right. It's looking good.
We become eccentric when we cross 50 and 60, no? I think it's not just the British who become eccentric. And you've seen the faces of the newly painted statues here?
Yes, Kabir Ji. Very bright and glowing.
A bit bright, but anyway, it's very good. And the Shakya Muni.
Yeah. Thank you.
And of course, the samosa, the ingredient. And here we
blessed food. Huh.
Nico, the stalwart. Yeah. Say hello to Nico.
Hi, Nico.
Good. And everyone is here. Our librarian, one of our librarians.
Hi.
The Purva is here. Everyone else is at home watching Ramayana or something, I don't know. Or what they do. So anyway, nice to see you all. Thanks to Nico for allowing me to help with the session. And I'm going to now concentrate on the food. And you guys can go home or whatever. You are home. You can. Yeah. Thank you, Sharma ji. Yeah, I don't think I know you, but now I know you. Yeah. Sagar, Yahi, Galaxy Prime. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. Yeah, shall we leave? Let's leave now.
Thank you, Kabir Ji.
We want to eat in peace. Yeah.
Yep.
You can go away now.
Yes.
Bye.
You enjoy the food. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.